Hi, it's Carl Allen. Welcome to the final deal origination strategy for module number 3, business brokers. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you the role that a business broker can play when it comes to your deal origination and when you should use them. I'll then talk about proof of funds, how to get brokers on your side, brokers finding deals for you, and then resources. There's a download list of brokers and broker consolidation sites like bizbuysell.com that you can use. First, let's discuss the role of brokers. Now, essentially, brokers are in the business to do one thing. That's to sell businesses to other businesses. But in my opinion, they don't do a great job of it, especially in the $500,000 to $10 million revenue range of businesses. However, they do represent a good option for deal flow, providing that you play them in the right way. But be warned, whilst there are advantages to using brokers, there are lots of disadvantages as well, and we'll get into that shortly. Now, here's how brokers work. Now, a typical broker charges a business an upfront listing fee. This can be really high. I've seen some brokers charge up to $10,000 per month just for listing the business and preparing it for sale, although few of them do that properly. Then the broker takes a success fee in addition to the listing fee. I've seen some brokers charge up to 10% of the total selling price, both the closing payment plus any future payments, seller financing and earnouts that we get to later. Though some brokers are very good in my experience, both in the US and the UK, brokers are highly inefficient and don't do a very good job of selling businesses. The statistics, however, are poor. Whilst I don't have any empirical data, from my experience, the average broker sells around 5% to 10% of the businesses that get listed with them. And broker contracts only last for 12 months, unless they are extended. And at the very least, a good broker should not list the business for sale until all of the following has been prepared, like the last 3 years' accounts and tax returns, and a comprehensive information memorandum highlighting what the business does, the history, the business model, the key customers, the key employees, the competition, the USPs, the marketing, the new business strategy, a SWOT analysis, and general information like awards, accreditations, etc. Even a forecast and summary financials, customer lists, employee lists, asset lists, interim financial statements. So it's fiscal year end is say December and you're looking at a deal in July. You need those monthly income statements and balance sheets January through June so you know how the business is performing. But more likely than not, you will only get that in around 1 in 10 deals that you look at. That's why on average, only about 1 in 10 deals actually sell through a broker. And the broker also needs to educate the seller on the selling process and the likely time frame and help prepare the seller for life post-deal, including the possibility of the seller staying involved in the business for a while. Now, sadly, with some brokers, all you get is like a one sheet, some hit and miss financials and a list and leave kind of strategy. They list businesses for sale on their websites and they hope that buyers contact them, and it doesn't happen. Now, a good broker should be out there marketing the deal, creating a potential buyer list, contacting them, generating interest. And unfortunately, very few brokers do that, which is why brokers are my least preferred way of generating deals. And there's lots and lots of different types of brokers. You have traditional brokers, think Transworld, Sunbelt, Benchmark, and specialist brokers for online deals like Website Closers and Empire Flippers. Both are very good in my opinion. And in the UK, you have KBS Corporate, Chelsea, Benchmark as well, BCMS, and many others. There are also lots of one-person broker firms or just brokers who work from home and network locally to get clients. And most of these advertise via exchanges like bizbuysell.com, BizQuest, and businessforsale.com. And I would argue that 90% of the businesses listed on these sites are of low quality and very small deals. And licensing is also an issue. In the US, some states require licenses to be a broker. Others, like Texas and New York, where there are lots of businesses for sale, they don't require licensing. CPAs and lawyers also play the brokering game. So if a client calls them and lets them know they want to sell the business, they sometimes take it upon themselves to broker the deals. Where that happens, you'll likely have a much better experience, more sensible valuations, and full access to all the information that you require. However, once you go above 10 million a year in revenues, the number of brokers diminishes and the quality of representation goes up considerably. Those brokers refer to themselves more as corporate finance firms or even boutique investment banks. So here's a typical broker process. You see an online listing and you inquire about it on bizbuysell.com, for example. You register, you click to download the information sheet, though some brokers will want you to call them directly. So get yourself on brokers' mailing lists and specify what sectors or types of deals that are going to interest you. And once you have that anonymous information sheet, that one sheet, the next step will be to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which essentially protects the seller by prohibiting you from using or disclosing the information publicly to harm the business, like steal employees, customers, etc. Now, the broker may want you to fill in a buyer profile, which is a very brief summary of your deal specification, but not your wealth creation part, before you receive the deal information memorandum called an IM or sometimes a CIM, a confidential information memorandum. Now, this document, it's like a sales prospectus for the business, and with it, you'll sometimes also receive historical accounts, a current year forecast, and tax returns. But this process is not standardized. So if you inquire about 10 deals, you'll get 10 completely different sets of information, both in terms of quality and also in terms of depth. And what you rarely receive are interim financial statements. Again, if you're looking at a business mid-financial year, you want to know how it's performing year to date and in comparison to last year, right? You need this information, and often it's like pulling teeth to get it, but stick with it. There's a full list in Module 4 of all the information that you should request to analyse a deal. Now, what brokers should do, but many don't, is attend the seller meetings or calls with you. And I walk you through the meeting process in Module number 4, but it's the natural step after supplying data that you speak to the seller to not only get familiar with their business, but more importantly, the seller psychology. So remember the deal-making triad. We want highly motivated or distressed sellers of good businesses. Now, the broker's job is also to project manage the deal. That's useful for you when they're pulling data on all the other information that you need when you're in the closing process and you're conducting formal due diligence. What you ideally need is a hybrid, a rabid broker helping you with information requests and a direct relationship with the seller so that you can continue to build rapport, trust, and credibility. And one thing to watch out for with brokers, especially if the deal is a recent listing, is any request for proof of funds. Sometimes you'll get asked this before you know anything about the business, even the name. You haven't met the seller, and you don't even know if the deal is going to truly fit your deal specification. So have you purchased a house before? It's like the agent asking you for a mortgage offer on the house before being allowed to view it. It's crazy. So building a relationship with the broker can really help in this scenario. So my response to any premature request for proof of funds is, how can I provide proof of funds to you when I don't know anything about the business? I have financial partners ready to do deals with me once I've found a business that fits with my requirements and there is a willing buyer, willing seller relationship. Then I will come back with a fully funded offer. Now, as part of your networking activity, you should have financiers in your pocket for when you find a deal. Then you can name drop. If you don't know where to start, we provide a financier Rolodex in Module 7 of lenders that our students have successfully used. Then if the broker asks you how you intend to fund a potential purchase, you reply with a mix of equity, debt, and seller financing. Now, another major issue that you need to be wary of with brokers is the claim that the business has been pre-approved for SBA 7A loan financing. That, unfortunately, is a complete myth. Now, the SBA application process, which I discuss in more detail in Module number 7, covers a range of factors. First of all, it must be a US citizen to take advantage of an SBA loan. If you're not a US citizen, you must have a partner or a partner group that has at least a 51% US equity stake. And you as the buyer also need to have a good standing, be familiar with the sector and also have good credit. And also the business must be in good standing. So the SBA cannot make that total determination until you specifically apply for the financing to acquire that business. So please take the statement, "This has been SBA pre-approved," as incorrect. That's not to say you can't use the SBA for the acquisition, but you need to submit the full application. And again, I'm going to cover that in module number 7. Now, all that said, there are some definite advantages to using brokers. First, with a broker deal, you absolutely know the business is for sale, unlike when you use social media or networking activities or direct approaches for potential deals. Now, my golden rule with brokers is to only look at deals that have been listed for at least 6 to 12 months. You can find good deals that are more recent listings, but it's the exception versus the rule. And when you call the broker, just ask for listings more than 6 months old. And when asked why, explain that you feel generally deals are overpriced, and after 6 months, sellers are more interested in reasonable offers. Now, brokers are also great to develop relationships with. And if you don't like the deal presented to you, a good broker will go find you more suitable deals for a contingent finder's fee. And brokers can also be good, but not always, in chasing down the information that you need to hurry the deal along, especially pre-offer and post-offer in due diligence. Another advantage of brokers, especially if it's your first deal, it's good practice to get you looking at early deals, talking to sellers, seeing numbers on the business, and running through that deal process. Now, there are some definite disadvantages to using brokers. Brokers are generally inefficient and lack deal-making and financial skills. And you'll quickly see the difference between a good, competent broker and someone that's not. And brokers tend to overprice deals, since they know that a trade buyer, you, will have cross-selling opportunities and deal synergies to realize. They'll try to price all that into the purchase price, which is crazy since you must do all that work to generate that additional value. And the premium valuations that brokers put on deals can lead to price anchoring, which is where the seller gets fixed on a specific number. That's why a listing may be out there for 6 months or more. It's a big psychological tipping point at that stage, because some sellers will begin to fear that nobody will buy their business, even below that original asking price. And that's the perfect time to strike. Here's a way to get brokers on your side, especially with old listings. Now, once brokers promise a premium valuation and it doesn't materialize, remember, in my experience, they only close 5 to 10% of deals, then they'll typically fall under intense pressure from sellers to get some form of result. Now, at that point, the broker becomes your best friend and will do whatever it takes to get a deal closed. And in those instances, you can try for a 100% seller finance deal structure. If the only stumbling block is either the broker's fee, which is paid by the seller, or the seller's legal fees, or both, you can offer to pay those over time out of the business's cash flow and effectively buy the business for zero money down. No cash from you and no cash from financing. Or if, say, the closing costs for the seller are $100,000 and there's $100,000 of surplus cash inside of the business when you buy it, you or the seller can use that surplus cash for the closing costs. And don't forget, brokers can also go and scout deals for you. You pay them a finder's fee when you close, $10,000 or so, or approximately 1% of the total acquisition costs. Though we have the broker list of the most popular brokers in the UK and the US for you to download, remember, Google's your best friend. For example, if you search business brokers, plus a location like Chicago, or business brokers, and a sector like web design, you'll get a lot of hits. So that's it for brokers. Tread carefully. But these folks can be useful if played the right way. And remember to build those relationships. It's critical throughout this journey. It's a relationship business. So that's it for the deal origination methods. I will see you on the next video for the implementation assignments. And until then, bye for now.